Gonna do this pineapple skin stitch. This might be hard to see in white on the camera. Here it is in pink. Might be a little bit easier to see. Gonna use a 4-inch bottom, and I'm gonna start with a 4mm hook to get started, and then I'm gonna move to a 6mm. And I'm using this t-shirt yarn. This particular t-shirt yarn might be difficult to find because it came from Joann Fabrics, and as of today they are going out of business. And so I just went and got all of the t-shirt yarn I could find at the store because there was only like 6 of them. But you can use any t-shirt yarn for this project. Okay, we're gonna hook onto our base with a 4mm hook. And chain 1. We're going to do a pattern of increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, and repeat that. So this one is going to be, I'm going to work my tail in. So this one's going to be an increase. So 2 single crochets there, and then 1 single crochet. And then an increase. And a single crochet. And repeat that pattern all the way around. This base has holes that are kind of small. So you can see here where the base is done. You can kind of see through the holes. Typically, I like to do a slip stitch first before I start doing these. However, these holes are so small that I couldn't fit the increase stitches in the holes where the slip stitch was. So I'll show you, this is a different base. And this base has holes that are much bigger. So I was able to do a slip stitch first and then come and do my base stitches around the end. So if you like the way it looks with a slip stitch like this, instead of this one with the holes, then you need to try to find a base that has holes that are a little bit bigger. Okay, so now I'm going to repeat, increase, and single crochet. Repeat that all the way around. My last stitch is going to be a increase. Yours may be different depending on how many holes you have in your base. I've noticed that even if you buy the same, like this is a 4-inch base, so even if you buy a 4-inch base, say on Amazon like I did, you still may have different holes because it's not very consistent. But for this particular pattern, it doesn't really matter. You can end with an increase or a single as long as your pattern goes the same. So then loosen up your hook, come through the back of your first stitch, take your loop and pull your loop through. So once you get your loop over, we're going to go, let's make this a little bit looser. We're going to go in the middle of this stitch right here. And the reason we're doing that is because this row, the first row of our wall, is going to go in the back loop only, so we don't want to go through both of these. We go through the middle loop, and then we need to go through the V of that first stitch, right there. And then grab that back bump as well. Through the middle loop, through the V, and then through that back loop. And then put your loop back on the hook and tighten it up so that your loop that's on your hook isn't too loose. Yarn over and pull through all 3 of those. And then when your loop comes up, it'll be in the middle to get started with your back loop only. We're going to switch to our 6mm hook at this point, and we're going to finish the project with 6mm. Chain 1. And now we're going to go on the back loop only. We're going to go through the back loop and through that back bump. These are your back bumps. That's going to help lift the walls up. So go through that, back loop only, back bump. Complete your single crochet. And then continue to the next stitch. No more increases. This is going to be 1 single crochet in the back loop only, connecting with the back bump. Going to complete that all the way around. Okay, I'm at the last stitch. Pull up your loop, go to your first stitch from the back, bring your loop through, and then put your hook through the center V and grab your loop back, yarn over, pull through, and chain 1. Now we should be able to pull up the walls. And now we're going to start our pineapple skin stitch. So we're going to do a single crochet waistcoat stitch all the way around for 1 more row because we want 2 rows of single crochets. So you're going to go into that V of your stitch. A normal single crochet, you would insert your hook here. But to do the waistcoat, you go here into this little V space. And that's what we want to do all the way around. Okay, I got the end of that row. This was our chain 1 stitch. This is our first stitch in that row. So loosen your hook, come from behind, pull your hook, and hold that loop. Go in through your V, grab your loop back, and yarn over, pull through, pull up a little bit, and chain 1 for your next row. So this is a 2-row repeat pattern. One of the rows is what we just did, single crochet, waistcoat stitches all the way around. And then the second row is going to be a single crochet waistcoat, just like you did here, alternating with a single crochet, like a kind of a spike extension. So let me show you how to do that. We're still going to go into the V space like we did with our waistcoat. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, but don't pull your loop very much. And then you're going to go down 2 rows. So 1, 2. We're going to insert our hook right there. And then put your yarn on your hook. This first one's a little difficult because the bottom is in the way. And then pull it through. And then once you get it through, you're going to turn your hook and go through that first loop. And then pull up level to your edge of your basket. Yarn over and pull through 2. Your next stitch is a single crochet waistcoat. And then back to that stitch again. And then a regular single crochet. And you just alternate that all the way around. If you make your loop right here too loose, then it's not going to sit against your basket. It's going to come, this one's a little bit loose, it's going to come up and be puffy. So you want to make sure that you don't loosen that any more than you have to get it to stretch down to 2 rows behind. Whoops. And then repeat that pattern all the way around. The last stitch in row 2 will be your extended spike stitch. So we need to connect the rows. Go to the first stitch. That was your chain 1, so you're going to leave that there. And we're going to have our first stitch in that next row be right there. Grab your loop, tighten up your yarn, pull through, and chain one. So you can see it looks like we're getting sort of like a seam right here. So when we come back around, and we're going to do row one now with just single crochets, but when we come back at the end of this row and start these stitches again, we're going to put it in there so it doesn't look like that. So go ahead and do a single crochet. Whoops. So now we're going back to doing row one. Insert in the V, even though that is not a regular single crochet, we're still going to go in the V for every single crochet. And just do that all the way around, single crochets. Okay, when you get to the end of your single crochet row, loosen your hook loop, come from behind in your first stitch of that previous row or the row you just finished. Bring your yarn over. Normally, when we do this and start a new row, we would come in to this stitch right here, since this is the first stitch in each row. However, if we do that and then put this extended spike stitch right here, it gives it a weird bump that really sticks out and doesn't look like it belongs. So instead of going in here, we're going to back up one and go into that stitch. Grab the loop, tighten it just a little bit, but not too much. Pull our yarn through and chain one, and that's where we're going to start. And that way, when we come in here and do the spike stitch, go down 2, 1, 2, then it lays flat. And then just go back. This is your row 2 that we're repeating, where we do the spike. 2 rows down. And a single crochet. And spike stitch. 1, 2. And that is all you do for the rest of the project. So the row 1, single crochet row, row 2, alternating single crochet, and your spike twist stitch. Just repeat the 1 and 2 all the way around. When you get to the end of this row with the spike stitches, you can just connect like you normally do, where you bring it over here and come in here. But when you finish your row 1s, you need to back up a stitch before you start. Okay, I'm at the end of that row, and because I'm almost out of yarn, I'm gonna stop here and do a slip stitch top. So don't chain one. So I'm going to do a slip stitch. Start there and don't pull your slip stitch too tightly. Kind of go a little bit loose. And just make your slip stitch all the way around. That's the last slip stitch, and I'm going to cut my yarn and pull through. I'm going to come back through the back. And then weave in the tail. So I want you to see the difference. This is putting the slip stitch on after the special stitch row. And this is putting it on after the single crochet row. So you can see the difference, just depends on which look you prefer. And this is another one that I did. It's not as tight because it's not t-shirt yarn, but it is extra large ribbon yarn. I think it looks nice as well.